Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar. This webinar will be on YouTube. So for YouTube viewers, if you like what I do, share it with a friend, share it with somebody. Thank you very much for that. By the way, a lot of traders are asking me if I still do the courses. And so because I don't advertise them in every one of my videos and I hardly speak of them a lot, but I got over this weekend a few emails asking me, messages mostly, asking me if I still do. Yes, we still do them. I don't make special time to advertise them. I don't do them in all my video, and you will not find a website where I do that because that's not the focus of my group. Let me stress this again. The focus of my group is not selling your course. That doesn't mean I don't have one, but if you're interested in becoming a successful trader, a full-time trader, somebody who can use this to make money, you can join us. All you have to do is send me a simple message on Skype. I don't have a website, and I don't think I'll ever have one. I don't know if I'll ever have one. Not because I don't want one. I don't have the time to manage one. I have a group to run that I'm in 5 times a day, and I have a family. So let me give you my Skype, M-A-N-G-A-L. That's it. G-A-L 457. That's my Skype ID. Go to Mangal 457, send me a message, and you'll get all the details you need. All right. Very quick about the group. It's a group of traders trade together, beginners, successful traders, everything. Once you take the course, you get access to the group that is free for life, which means if you follow the rules of the group, not my rules, the rules of the group created by the traders themselves, if you follow that, you have lifetime access to that group. And what we do in that group is that we trade 5 times a day. We have at least 5 sessions a day where we do it live. We analyze trades, we take trades, we manage trades, and we move on from there. So not everybody in the group is going to be successful because they're different stages. We have super successful traders. We have very successful traders. We have traders who are break even. We have traders who are struggling, and we have traders who are losing a little. Our job is to make sure that no one loses their account. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we can make everybody successful. And that's what we do. So what does a live session look like? Pretty much like this, like the webinar, except we will go into the details of the trade. We will say what strategy we're going to use for this trade. And we would say, what's the risk or what's the money management we're going to use? Because you might use your standard money management. You might want to double or your money management. You might want to half your money management, depending on what's the risk level of the trade. All of that is discussed, where the stops are put and how we manage the trade. So if a trade is taken, we come back and we show, well, okay, what are we doing with this trade at this stage? We normally have a session, which is now, this is the very first session, the Asian session. This is 6 a.m. in Dubai. We have a second session somewhere around 7:30, 8. That is where I would record the webinars normally, but I'm doing the record because it's Monday, I'm doing the recording right now. And then we have a London Open. We have a mid session between London and New York. We have New York Open, and then we have an after New York Open session. I'm in at least 4 or 5 of those. Sometimes I'm definitely not in the last one because by then I'm asleep. It's run mostly by my traders. They come in, they discuss data. And when I'm in there, I give my views. I look at the trades we have, and then we discuss that. But I'm in at least 3 times a day. That's for sure. That's the minimum. So that's in a very short note what we do. If you'd like to join us, send me a Skype message. Let's move on. Dollar index. We discussed this last week in details for those of you who were following me. And I said, be careful when you see something like that. There's a good chance it can start to drop. Right? We are going to break out of that and we're going to come back here. And once we come into there, we started to make a pattern. Let me take 2 minutes on patterns, and then I will not repeat that here. But this is the very starting. You need to watch this piece, right? Because what really is a pattern? Because I got a lot of charts from traders who would send me and say, hey, is this a running flat or is this a expanding flat? I've seen you drawn like this before. And they actually connect the wrong points, right? It looks like an expanding flat they're sending to me, but the beginning and the ending of that expanding flat is incorrect, which does not make it an expanding flat, right? So you connect 3 points and it looks like a flat, but it's not the flat because every flat has an impulse in and an impulse out. Every correction has an impulse. It starts with an impulse. So traders get themselves confused and they put something on without understanding the full nature of how it should be like, right? What is the pattern? So if you're going to send something, if you're looking for a correction, you have to first find an impulse. Now, it's not as difficult as it might look at first if you're seeing this for the first time. It is also not as easy as it might look if you're seeing it for the 100th time, because it's a little more complex than that. And that's what we do. We dissect the complexity of how patterns develop, because you can think you might be starting an up move, but you're still in a bigger correction. So we might think this is dropping here, but all this could be is a bigger correction for upside. How would you know the difference between that and that? Well, there are many things you would look at in this move going down that will tell you, okay, it's a continuation to the downside, or it's making a bigger correction to the upside. And of course, as you learn this stuff and you get better at doing daily, it will be easier for you to identify, is there a need for more continuation? Is it complete as it is? What part of this pattern you're looking at? Is it the B wave? Is it the C wave? Is it ending this 1, 2, 3? Is it still making a more complex one here? So as you can see, there are many, many things you would have to know before you decide, well, this is a complete pattern. Because traders would look at this and said, oh, I've got myself an ABC here. They'll put something like this and said, we've got an ABC, we're going down now. And that might be totally wrong. And then you'll come back and say, well, if that is incorrect, those are 3 perfect waves, why not? Well, that's where the complexity comes in. And that is why you don't know that part as yet, right? Go through the process, follow it step by step, and you will know what it's doing. Right, so let's go back to where we are now. We're in the 1-hour. We did break out last week because we anticipated that the move like this will break. You can see we've already started to have sell setups here, sell setups at this one and sell setups at that one. So what do we have right now? We have a buy setup, but that's not an upside as long as you stay in this move going downwards. When you break out of that, then we'll go upside. So there's a short-term buy setup here, which could eventually go down back or break out. Which of those two is going to happen? Who cares? I mean, literally, why do you care about which one is going to happen? You take this trade and you manage that trade to see whether it breaks out or whether it goes back down. If it goes back down, we'll sell it. If it breaks out, we stay with it. That's the point. And that is what is important about wave analysis. I think what most traders, and I believe 99% of traders make this mistake. They're worried about the outcome of the trade. No, you should be worried about the process of the trade. The outcome will take care of itself. Actually, I have a rule. The good trades will take care of themselves. The bad trades you have to manage. That's a rule that I created in my group. And that's where you're trading. Trading is taking care of the bad trades because the good trades will take care of themselves. If I put a buy here, and I'm absolutely correct about that, which means this thing does exactly what I expect it to do, then we're going to have a trade that will go like this. I don't need to do anything. That trade will take care of itself. All I need to do is book the profit, which is pretty easy to do, right? That's not the difficult part. But if this trade goes up, tag me, and don't go the way I expect it to go, which means the tag you start to pull back. And of course, most traders panic at that point. Can it pull back and still go, or can it pull back and drop? Both of those are possible. You don't know that. So you don't have to worry about what the outcome is going to be here. What you have to worry about is the process. What are you going to do if it does that? If you take care of the process, the outcome will take care of itself. So what's the process? What you're going to do if it tags you and pull back? You should have a fixed set of rules of when you're going to close it, where you're going to close it, even before it stops you out. First, you have a stop, that's sure. Your stop should be here. Sometimes your stop don't have to be there. If I think it's going to come and, tag me here and go back up, I don't have to keep a stop here. I could put a stop somewhere else. If I think once they break this level, that structure changed, then I don't need a stop here. I need a stop here. So the stop will be where you think the structure is changing. That's where your stop should be, where you're no longer right about that trade. Now, there's still a process that you're going to go through to exit the trade if it's not going in your direction. And that process is what we do daily in our trading room. It's like a blueprint for every single possible thing that will happen to this trade. So let's just assume you put that buy there. And you know everything that could happen. You know all the things that could happen. It could go up, it could go down, it could go sideways. You know all of that. What you have to decide is a set of rules of what you're going to do based on what pattern you're looking at. and how you're going to manage it. If you take care of the process, the outcome will take care of itself. That's all. That's what trading is. That's what anything is about. That's what your life is about. The process, not the outcome. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow, but you know what you have to do today. If you do what you have to do today, tomorrow you might get the outcome you're looking for. You want to be a lawyer? Enroll in a law school. You can't enroll in a law school and expect to become a doctor at the end of it. Right? You know your goal, but you don't know whether you'll even become a lawyer, even if you enroll in the school. You enroll in the school and you go through the process. Hey, I was a medical student for 6 years. I'm not a doctor. I went through the process. The outcome was not what I expected. When I enrolled, I expected to be a doctor. But during the process, something happens that changed that. Honestly speaking, I have no regrets. I'm pretty happy that whatever happened, happened. I wish it didn't happen the way it happened, but it happened and it changes the outcome of my life, which I'm pretty happy about. But you have to go through the process. I never in my wildest dream imagined me being a trader. Never. That was not even in the plan. That was not even a thought in my head. But that's the outcome. I went through the process. If you take care of the process, the outcome will take care of itself. So focus on the processes you're trading, what you need to do, when you need to do, and how you need to do it. That's all I want to leave you guys with there, right? So let's go. What we will do is we are going to put an entry order here and we'll manage this trade as it goes along. Forget about whether you're going to win the trade, you lose the trade, there's a break even. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. But if you have a good process and a good pattern and you understand the good analysis you're doing and you understand how to manage trade, your outcome will be good. So we're looking for a buy setup. I don't think it's going to break out. I think we're literally heading down, but this could be the one that might come here and go down. We'll get a sell setup in that case. Right now, it's pretty sharp, so it could break out. This was a sharp one. See this one? It didn't break out. This was a sharp one. See this one here? That didn't break out. This was a sharp one. See that one? It didn't break out. Could this one break out? We don't know that. Take the trade. Silver, pretty much consolidating. You have a perfect buy setup. As you can see, I already have it set up there for the buy. That was from since Friday. And like I said last week, if you were following me and you watched my last week video, this move coming down is a correction, even if we break this low, which means we're definitely going to go back up. So this is a buy setup here today. Is that the one that is going to go back up? I don't know. We had a lot of buy setups earlier that didn't go. We had this buy setup. We had that buy setup. We had a buy setup here that's a break-even trade. We actually took this knowing it might be a break-even trade, but we still take the trade because I don't know the outcome. I assume it's because this is very corrective. We're going to drop. We actually sold that at some point as well. And I think there was a sell setup here. So I can't remember in the 1 hour we had a sell setup there. But this is a buy. Could this buy be the one that go out? I don't know. We'll first take it for this move and then we'll see where it goes. If it makes an impulse and start to drop, we'll exit that trade and we'll look for the sell setup. Right now, I think there's a very high probability we're coming to break this top. So we'll see, which means dollar index is unlikely going to go up. Gold, you're getting a buy setup. We're actually making a very big flat here. I think this would be the impulse up. You're getting one down, one up. You're probably going to get a consolidation here, drop here, probably go up there, or you might come very sharp and go back up. We don't know what this is going to do, but it looks to me like they're consolidating here for upside. So in the 1 hour, there's a very short sell setup here if you want. I don't like it. See, I don't have an entry in it as yet. I don't like it. It's too small. If you're looking at the way all of this is behaving, there's a big consolidation here. There's a big consolidation here. There's a second. This is not going to be the one that dropped. We didn't break the top. So there's a very, very, there's a very slim chance of this just dropping. Wait for a bigger correction. Can it go back up? Maybe. We don't have a buy setup. Euro. Definitely, this was a buy last week. This should just move it across here and that's a sell setup now. It will probably consolidate some more. I'm pretty sure we'll see some more consolidation, but this is a perfect sell setup. So how do we have a sell setup on euro and we have a buy setup on silver? That's trading. They don't have to go the same direction, right? Would this become the big one that drops to the low? I don't think so. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe it will. So there's a good chance that this comes, retest the low, silver stays in consolidation, we go back up. This is definitely going to go back up, right? The question is from where, right? We're looking at this as a big sideways move. So the only question is, are we going to break this low before we go? Come back here, would that be a flat for one more down and then we go break the top, or would this one go and break the top? Could it be that this is a flat for total downside? I just give you three possibilities. Now, each one could happen, but as it's a chart develop, you're going to know which one is going to happen. So right now, we're going to go for the short-term sell, and we'll see whether this becomes a flat or whether it is actually going to break the low. I think there's a high probability of us breaking the low, and I explained that last week because we do have a very big flat here. And it's rare that this becomes a very big impulse with a big flat at the low, at the bottom of it. That is very rare. Most times that becomes a corrective structure. Well, the only way this becomes a buy is if this works its way up back like this. And if this happens today, we will no longer be selling it. We will wait for this to drop here and we'll be buying it. So by the end of the day, this sell setup might be canceled and we will be looking for a buy setup today. And in one of my videos, I also explained this part to you, how the patterns could change as they develop. So that's part of the complexity of wave analysis. And that is why some traders would go, I would say, put a sell entry here, not understanding what strategy they need to use. They will click sell immediately and watch this thing go back to the top. And then they would say, hey, you said it's a sell. Look at when it's going up. I'm like, no, I never tell you to sell it. I never tell anyone they should sell or buy anything. I'm giving you an analysis that if you understand the complexity and you understand how it's used, you will know how to use it correctly, right? If somebody is going to give you a car to drive, at least you know to drive. If you have never learned to drive, you're going to crash the car. So here's the deal. If this starts to do this, we cancel this. This becomes the B wave. This becomes a flat, comes back down here, we're buying. If it stays where it is, we're selling. One is a flat, one is a flag. So if it's a flag, we sell. If it becomes a flat, we buy. Which one will it be today? I don't know. But for now, I have a sell entry. I can see this going up a little more. On the 15, you can see that. Some of my traders might be tempted to buy this. I have traders who trade in lower time frame. They might be tempted to buy that because you can see that this one is going to give you another impulse there. And then I'm expecting this to go down. Maybe I'll put my entry over here. If this comes back here and go again, perfectly. I'm starting to get the sell set up. If it climbs to the top, forget about the sell, go for the buy. So let's go. Bang, 1 hour. Good. We broke the top there. See, we broke out of this. We made a new high and now we drop. That's good. You take off that. It's no longer a buy. It's actually a sell setup as it stands right now. This is making a flag for a sell setup. So if we make some more consolidations, and most likely we will make some more consolidations, we're looking for a sell setup. Same process. It goes back to the top. It becomes a flat for a buy. Here's a good one. Let me just show you this. So I'm going to take this off. And for those of you who watch my video, you're learning something today. I'm going to do this once for you guys because you're very loyal. You watch the video and you might want to even share it with someone. So let me give you a piece of a lesson. Let's cut this. And we're going to chop it right here. Yeah. So if you're looking at this chart with me, I would say to you, this looks like a buy setup. This is going to break out. So I think we can probably go and break that up. At this point in time, that's exactly what's a buy for us. And then if you play it, you'll see what happens. I'm going to go through the play. Let's click play. We have to click play, sorry. Stop. Good. If you're in my trading room, or if I don't know if we managed to follow up on that one, but if you're in the trading room, you would see we said, okay, this is one. We get this. This could be all the correction, but there's a chance that it's going to do this, come back here, and then go. We knew that when it happened because this is a known pattern. So to my traders, I said, you can take this trade because sometimes they do this, they do this, they do this, and then you get this second impulse, and then it goes. So we took the trade because we anticipated that. We took it in the trading room live, and then you can follow up what happened. I think you know what happened, but we'll just follow up very quick. That became the buy. And then it started the correct. Well, I exited the trade earlier, but some traders could have kept it at that level and pause. So when you see this, what you're expecting is that you get one, you get two, they could make another flag and go again, but eventually you have to get this to make a running flat and then upside. So if it pulls back, you make a running flat, you go up. Pause. This is where you put your buy entry at this level, because this is a running flat and this should go up. See? That's the process of where you put your entry, when you take it off, what you look for, when you do. Some traders even sold this. Like I said, if you're in a short-term trader, that's probably a sell, but it's not a good one. I didn't sell it, and we didn't do that in the trading room. So this should go up. I think you know it went up by now, so I'm just going to move it very fast to show you that process. You can see this was your buy setup. And pause. So here we are now. What do we have? Let's close this. Right now it's a sell. Can that change? Well, this will change only if this piece works its way back to this level. And if we see this, then you know what? We're looking for another flat, which means this comes here, go back up. As of now, it's a sell setup. And a sell to come back for this low. For now, that's a good sell setup. So we look for the sell, let it consolidate some more. I think we have a perfect sell setup there. Aussie. Good. Aussie, we were expecting to break out at this level. That was an inch shorter. It didn't break out. It actually dropped. It was supposed to come down to about this level. We actually look for the sell to bring it back to this level and then go break out. Well, it drops lower. So let's see where we are in the bigger structure. You're not in the trade. When it doesn't go where you want it to go, worst case is you're not in the trade. And that's not a problem. Because if you want to sell at this level, that's pretty dangerous. So we do have a flat that is still 1, 2, 3, but we're coming back down rather than going up. So you can put this now and it's pretty easy. If Aussie breaks this level, we sell. If we break out of that trade, we're looking for a sell setup, especially if you get a consolidation here. You get a consolidation here and then it drops. That's a sell setup. What if it goes back up to the top? It's still a sell. So from a buy at the top here, it drops to this level and change this from 1, 2, 3 to a 1, 2, 3 flat for downside. How far down? Well, probably just only one more impulse down, because this is your biggest structure. We're still going down. One more impulse first, and then we'll see what this is. This is still pretty sharp. So eventually we might get one more of this to the upside for a running flat, because you have a lot of flats in this piece. If you relook at it, it's just become an extended running flat. A pattern we identified here. You will not find that anywhere else. It's not in the Elliott wave theory. An extended running flat is something we identified some 3 years back, because we realized that it exists and it behaves in a certain way. So you'll get all these flags coming down, which become sell setups, but then eventually you're going to get one more like that, and then you're going to get one more drop. That will end the structure. So there's a sell setup here today. I don't know, we might get something like this. If you measured all these impulses coming down, this is the first one. This is the second one. This is the longest. Then you have this one. Can we get something like that there? Possible, maybe shorter. So that's what you're going to expect, an impulse to the downside. We'll see what happens to that. Most likely it's going to break the low and turn. I'm going to tell you that there's a very, very good chance all you're going to do is break this low here and turn to the upside for something like that, and then drop. So let's see. New Zealand still going sideways, and there's a chance we're going to go one more up before we come down, because you're making a big flat there. Is it over? Let's see. It's possible they did break this top. We wanted them to break the top like this one. So you broke the top and you reverse. So we broke this top. If this is reversing, it's going to drop here. If they go back up one more, they'll do this and then come down. So let's see, is it coming down? Can we make that the running flat? It's possible. You can make an argument for that as a running flat. So if you're going to look for a sell setup, wait for a flag here or break out of this structure. I think a flag would make sense. We don't have a buy setup. Even if it is going to go up one more, you don't have a buy setup. Swiss will probably look for a buy setup in the longer term, because we're going sideways. This is coming down, but it's a correction. So at some point, this thing starts to go back up. And when it goes back up, it doesn't necessarily have to break out now. So you can either go back up and break out. You can go back up like this and come back down one more. You can probably make a bigger correction here and drop one more. Because if you're dropping at this level here, that sells become dangerous. If this small flag breakout, that's a dangerous sell. If it goes back high and then drop, that's a good sell. If it takes off to the upside, it's a buy. Right now, it's looking like it's going to have a small flag and we're going to come down, which means this piece here will probably do something like this, make a flat there, consolidate, and you have one more impulse down. You can sell this if you want, but like I said, this is the dangerous sell because you're in a correction. You're almost very close to the bottom of that correction, which means you have to be quick at managing that trade if it just breaks the low and go back up. The buy setup here would be perfect if you get it. We don't have a buy setup. It might form, but there is no buy setup at the moment. But the direction we were expecting is that if I get a flag here, a flag for a sell, I probably wouldn't take the trade. Not because I don't see this coming down, because I don't think it's going to go very far. It might just break this low and start to go back up. If we get a buy setup, we'll take that trade. And then we will see whether that breaks out or whether it makes another drop. Can we make another drop? Possible. This would still be a correction in this impulse before you go back up. So you can be buying here, you can be selling here, and then you'll eventually buy. That is how this pattern could develop. And I think that's likely how it will develop. We don't know that. This move up is sharp, so we'll probably get a running flat. Do we have a buy setup? No, not even on the 15. It's more of a sell setup forming, and it's probably incomplete at the moment, which means there will be more consolidation in here before it drops. CAD. This one last week, I told you that will be a consolidation for a sell, and it is a sell. So the only question you have now is whether we're going to retest the low or if we're going to make a big flat at the top here. I am more convinced that we're going to make a big flat at the top here, which means this one will work its way back here. We'll probably come here and then take off. So we'll be in this range for a while, something like this. And that's okay, which means if we get buy setup, we'll take the trade. And I think we do have a buy setup right now. It's also incomplete, which means this will take a while here to consolidate maybe. And then we have a perfect buy setup. So I could probably see them doing this and then taking off. Again, if it comes back to the low here, then go back up. It's a flat, and that means we'll have one more down, then the upside. Also possible. So what's the trade that is the most immediate trade? The most immediate trade is putting a buy entry at the top there. And then manage that. Yen. Also possible that we're going to make another move up here, come back down here, and then totally take off. I don't think if we get all that consolidation inside of this impulse, we will break the low. All right, so if this goes up back there, come back here, we will only break these lows and then take off. But if it drops right now, then the chances are we will break this low and then take off. So which of those two? Go to the daily. You notice I said take off. So there's a high probability that this could come here and take off, or you could go back to the top there, just come and break this low, make a flag here or a flat, and then take off. Either way, there's an up move coming, which is this one, because we will complete the pattern here. Either it's completed or we will complete it depending on what this piece does. So go back to the 4 hour. Right now, I think we have a buy setup on the 1 hour. I think this, if this breaks out here, we will buy it to this level, put it to break even, see whether it breaks out. If it drops again, come back to this level, we buy again. Can we sell this? Yep, you can see sometimes you get sell setup, sometimes you get sell setup. Sometimes you don't get the sell setup, it just drops. But we will buy again if we get it. So right now there's a buy setup here. As it stands, it's a buy setup. Again, if it comes lower, if it drops like this, I'm not selling this. If it drops like this, let it drop, break the low, and then we'll decide what to do with it. If we get a sell setup, it will probably be under here if they drop and make a flag. Right? If it consolidates more there and come back low, it will probably drop one more. If they consolidate here more and go back there, that will be a flat for one more down. Pretty simple. Let's go. Euro yen. Okay. Sell setup. Be careful. It's pretty high here. So it could still, there's a chance it could be a flat, but I believe because of the bigger structure, we're looking for the downside. Take this off. Because of the bigger structure, we're expecting them to come and break this low. At least break that low, and then we'll see what happens. So right now it's a sell setup. Can it be a bigger flat? It's possible. We'll go with the sell first. Swiss. Swiss is still consolidating, so that means we're going to get a buy setup on the Swiss. One more buy setup with an entry above the top. And for now, it's just one more impulse to the upside. Because every impulse to the upside could be the very last one before we drop. So right now, I'm looking at this as a possibility for an expanding flat. Right, we had this sharp impulse, we were consolidating, but we broke the low. And that makes it a possibility that this is a contracting flat. Right, we're open with that possibility. If this is a contracting flat, then that is 1, 2, 3. And we could make a new high. After which, in the weekly, it's going to still be downside. So if you want to take this buy, you can take it with the expectation that that is a contracting flat. We're going to break the top. That means it's a good trade. But you have to know also that there's a pattern that is a running flat, which means you can break the low and you can also break the top for an expanding flat. A running flat is when it doesn't break the top. When it breaks the top, you're going to get to an expanding flat that could come down. So if you take this trade, you have to expect both to happen. It could be just coming here and then drop. Or it could take off. If it takes off, we have a contracting flat in the middle. If it doesn't take off and it drops, an expanding flat. So what do you do with that if you have two different expectations? You take the trade and you manage it. Remember, it's all about the process. Take the trade and you manage the trade so you get out of it. Because if it takes off like a rocket, you'll probably regret not taking the trade. Or you can do the other one. Just ignore it. Let it go up. Don't take the trade because the risk is too high. Let it go up. And if it goes up, great. You wait for it to break the top and look for sell setups. If it doesn't go up, which means they only break this top and turn, we will absolutely take the sell because we're looking for the sell setup, which means if it gets a sell setup, that's a must. We will take it. If it gets a buy setup like it has right now, it's a maybe. It's a choice of yours if you think you can manage the trade. Personally, I probably wouldn't be taking the buy because I don't see that there's a big expectation to the upside, at least. Even if it goes, I wouldn't be worried about it. There are better trade setups with higher probability of going in that direction. This doesn't have the high probability. It's more like a 50% chance it's going to go up. But if it turns to the downside, then the probability of going down becomes 90%. So I will go with the sell setup. Canadian, pretty much the same thing, but Canadian already broke out. Tag it, and it's giving you a sell setup. You're probably making a running flat here or an expanding flat that looks more downside, which means we can look for the sell setup in the Canadian. So the Swiss yen is the only one so far of the 3 yen pairs that doesn't have. This one has a sell. The Euro yen has a sell. Swiss yen has a buy. Aussie yen, take this out. We were looking for this. There's a sell setup here to come and break this low. And once you break the low, we're looking for it to go back up. So remember when we were buying these, assuming that they can break out, they didn't break out, you got a bigger flat. You're coming here, it's going to come back to this top, probably break out, maybe come back down one more. So instead of trying to look for a sell setup here, what we should do is look for a buy setup. So go to the 1 hour. We broke the low. That's the main thing. You wanted to go down, break the low. I did an entire video on why breaking the lows are so important. Go find it on my YouTube channel. So let this reverse, let it make a flag, and then we will look for this trade and hope that that breaks out. If it comes back down, we exit the trade and we look for sell setups. But we're looking for a buy right now. This can drop some more, maybe. Not interested. If you know the pattern, you're thinking, well, no, not a good sell setup. It's definitely a good buy. Pong yen. Well, this one is a little difficult. This was the only one that had buy setups the whole of last week. And now it's pulling down. So do we have a sell setup? Not as yet. But if this pulls back like this and start to drop, then we have a sell setup. Can it break out? I think no. I think there's a good chance we'll have a bigger consolidation in that case. So maybe it's a buy, but we don't have a setup for the buy as yet. But if it pulls back and then give you a sell setup, that would be a good trade. So we'll wait on this to tell us what it's doing. New Zealand yen. I think we're looking for more sideways move, which means the chances are we're going to go back up one more, break that up, and then come down. That is still possible. So I'll leave it like that. And unless it breaks this low, or unless it drops beyond this and makes a flag here, then I'll consider the sell. But right now, it looks like there's a high probability for one more up before you go down. it's a down move, but when it comes to this level to complete this flat that we think is more or less like a running flat, probably come to this level and then go down. We'll see. It's not the best setup for the buy or for the sell. So the best thing is not to do either of that. Aussie CAD. We're expecting this to go back up eventually in the bigger structure, to pull back here for running flat and then drop, right? So we didn't get the pullback, it's going down. I still think it's going to happen because this is pretty sharp, which means you get them on a later basis. Extended running flats do happen. So take this out. We're still in this running flat. And right now it even looks like we're gonna get one more down. This looks like it's gonna consolidate here and one more drop. If you're selling this, you have to be very careful because this sharp move is going to happen at some point if you're running flat and then drop. So if it pulls back first here and then drop, that's a better sell setup than trying to sell this at the bottom here. All you have to do is don't sell this one. Sell something with an Aussie inside if it's an Aussie drop, or with a CAD inside if it's a CAD drop, but don't sell the Aussie CAD. It's that simple. When you have a trade setup, but the risk to reward in that trade is unknown or not good enough, go to another pair that says, okay, this is going to happen because of the Aussie or because of the CAD, and then you decide which one has a better risk to reward, a better, higher probability trade, and take that trade. New Zealand CAD. Same here. Take this off. We broke the low. This is going to make a running flat eventually. So at some point, this one will probably go back up there and then drop. You'll have a running flat here. If it does that and then drop, the probability of the trade is very high. Because then you get a running flat, you're also expecting them to come and break this low. We're expecting this to go down. Right? From the time we got that, we were expecting this to go down. But it's not going down as fast as you would like to. So I think this needs to pull up a little more, and then you can look for this trade to the downside. That would be a good sell setup. Pretty much like Aussie CAD. It pulls back, it's a good sell setup. CAD Swiss, we've got a sharp impulse and we're getting a correction. So that means we're looking for upside eventually. So this didn't break the top, but I think we can go with a contracting flat here. There's a good probability that it broke out, but it didn't break the top, but it's still okay. That's a good flat there. Maybe one more down. I can see this probably breaking the low here. And then probably upside. So if it breaks the low and we get a buy setup, I'll go for it. Right now it's a sell. I'm not interested in the sell. Right? This is correcting against this impulse. So I'm not interested in the sell. But as soon as we get a buy setup, we'll take the trade. You can take this out from here. You can put it here. It's too early, but you can put it there now because I think they'll break this low. Euros. Okay, we're going to go for a running flat. They didn't break out. This would have break out to give you a flat. That is 1, 2, 3, and then up. You broke the top. You'll eventually pull back and go one more up. That's confirming one more up, only now with a running flat pattern. So we broke the top. We can take this off and wait for this to pull back. Wait for it to pull back like this. Eventually, it will pull back like that. And now you'll have a buy setup, because you're going to get a running flat here. We'll see when that happens. If we get the sell, if we take the sell. Actually, this was a buy. Some of my traders might have taken it. It's a little risky one. We know it's going to be a running flat if it breaks out. Not a trade I would take. Euro New Zealand. It's pretty much going sideways. They didn't break this. They're pulling back pretty deep. So we're going to stay in this consolidation here still. It's still going to come down, but now the sell is not a good one. The risk to reward is not good. Right? So if you keep doing this, you can see they're doing this, pulling back, make a new high, pull back here, probably go make a new high again. Eventually come here and then go back up. We're in a big consolidation. See that big consolidation there? And you're actually consolidating in this place. So if you do that, now we did break the top here. So the only question you have to ask, is this a contracting flat in the middle with 1, 2, 3? If that's the case, we're coming back here. And then we're definitely going to go back up. Right? If that is the case. What if that is not the case? And this is a 1. We're making the 2 here now. We're going to come back to this level, make a bigger flat, and then take off. And that is why now this sell is not such a good one. So let's see if it comes back. It is still a sell setup as of now. 1 second. It's still a sell setup. The only time that changes is if this actually, 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. My Yes, sorry about that. So if it comes back higher to the top here and then come, we could get a flat like this and go back up. Right? It will still be within the correction. So there's still a chance for this to come back here and then go. Let's see. The best thing is to wait for this flat pattern to complete itself and then look for the impulse to the upside. EuroCAD. We're getting a big flat here. And then you have a perfect sell setup. You've got a very sharp reversal here. I think you can clearly see this when you get such a sharp reversal. And you're getting a flat here. We're likely going to come back here, and then we're looking for this trade down. So let's see in the 1 hour how you're going to trade that. It's going up, so you can probably either take the up trade or ignore it, whichever you want. You're getting a buy setup forming here. You might be getting a running flat here. Likely we could come back to the top here, maybe very slow, maybe fast like this one. Come back to the top here. I think we'll be looking at a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then downside. So you can either go for this trade, not knowing exactly how high it could go. It could probably come back to about that level because we're in a running flat, or it could be an expanding flat. The second one, the middle of it is already an expanding flat, but I'm talking about this one, the up one, which is this one, 1, 2, 3. That's a running flat or an expanding flat, and then downside. So you can decide if you get a good setup for that trade, take it. If not, wait for it to happen and then go for the sell setup. That sell setup might happen sometime this week, in the middle of the week or so. Euro Swiss, this just keeps going down. There's a big corrective structure here, but we're breaking out of it. See that? We're breaking out of this structure. And that is very important because when you start breaking out of this structure, the way we look at this is either this whole structure here is actually some kind of a slow start for downside, looking corrective, but then they start to drop and they make a new low. Or at some point, this goes right back up and make a new high, which means you got what some technical traders like to call it rubber band effect. They stretch the last move down and then release it and go back up. And it goes up really fast. And we don't know which of those is going to happen. But you can trade it, which means this, once that flat formed, there was a trade, there's a flag here, and there are flags in here, and there's flags in here, and you can sell those flags, each one as long as you break out of the structure. Every flag you get is a sell setup, including if you get this flag here, it's a sell setup. But each one of them is a short-term sell setup. You might get lucky if it drops really fast, but if you look at it, you can see this was a short-term sell, this was a short-term sell, that's a short-term sell, this is none of them are really good because you will close the trade for break-even. Any one of these you took in here will give you a break-even trade. So if you take this one, the chances are it drops like that, or it comes here and then start to come back and you get a break-even trade. But maybe it's worth taking the trade and see how far they go. So that is a trade you can take, and then we'll, when this move down finishes and turn, we will definitely go for the buy. Either the buy becomes a bigger flat and then they go down again, or the upside happens. And the upside is if it starts to go up, it's a very, very big move to the upside. So at this point, we will know whether this is actually going to retest the low or whether it's just a stretch of the last impulse before they go back up. Europa. Okay. This is starting to go sideways. We did break this low. We want them to break that low and then go back up, right? This is the structure you're looking at. Break that low and then go back up to retest the top, or that's a contracting flat and we're going down totally. So they did break the low, but then they started to pull back. Looks more like a flat here. Didn't go down. Great. Take that off. That was a small trade to retest the low. Now that the low is broken, you can ignore it. It means they don't have to really go lower than that. They're just going up really slow. So if we get a buy setup here and you need a buy setup, you need this to consolidate some more like this. That's like something like this, probably something like that. That's a perfect buy setup. The buy we should definitely take. The sell now is maybe you wait for more confirmation on the sell side, which means this would have to come back here and then go back up there. And if we get a flat like that, we sell. But if this makes a flag, you buy, makes a flag, you buy, make a flag, you buy. When it breaks a stop, that's when you start to look for the sell. So first you will try to see if you get flags to buy or if it makes a flat sell. This was a sell, I'll take that off. And this was just showing the break of the low. So let's wait. I think if we get a flag there, we go for the buy. It's making a flag, by the way, not a perfect one right now. Probably running flat. If you get a running flat, that's a buy setup. Puncad. Okay, you can sell this, but it's not going really fast. You see, this was a sell here. You'll probably get another sell here, but it's not going down real fast. So where do we expect it to go? Well, we're getting 1. You're getting 2. You might get 3 to this level. Break that low. And then the likelihood is you're going to go up. So there is a sell setup here. I think we'll get a very big flat in this piece here and then go up 1 more. So this would become a flat, come back to about this level, and then go back up to the top there. We've got flats like that in this one. You'll probably see a lot of them. Big flats, and then they go, this is a big correction, and we already had a big correction here. We're getting a second one here and go, that's okay. You're going to look for the sell here. We'll look for the buy, and then we'll see if we can go down. So we have a sell setup right now, which means going to break that low is very likely. The sell is a good one because at any point in time, we're expecting them to come and break this low. So it can drop, pull back, drop, pull back, drop, pull back, and then go. It could make one sharp drop and then go. We know for sure that the pound CAD and the New Zealand CAD looks downside. Right? We looked at them, we saw the New Zealand CAD and the pound CAD looks downside. And the Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD, we did this already. And this is downside. You have a sell setup here too if you want, short term, and you have a sell setup here that you should take, right? Especially if they pull back a little. And the pound CAD has a sell setup. Euro CAD, yep, it probably will come back up a little before they drop. So Euro CAD needs to actually pull back a little here and then totally drop. That's a big flat for downside. So Euro CAD has a big move down. New Zealand CAD has a big move down. Aussie CAD it's going down. We don't know how far. We don't have a target for that. And pound CAD has downside. A little downside move before they go, coming back to this level here. That's a good move. Pound Aus. Okay, you're making a lot of flats here, and all of this are within this one. So I think we just leave this alone, not for the sell, not for the buy. This would probably drop here. It could be another flat for upside. But they're not going anywhere. They're sticking in the channel. Actually, you like channels because this channel breaks to the downside. And do we have a sell setup forming? I think it's very likely. Yes, this could go down back. Could this be a big move that goes totally upside? It's possible. Retest the weekly top. Very unlikely, but possible. So we've got a sell setup here. I don't think you want this sell setup in a possibility in a structure that looks like a channel, like this. You never want to sell in something that looks like that. You want to sell when they break out of that structure and make a flag. If the flag is inside of that structure, they're likely going to do this and then go back up and we'll get a channel that looks like this. And the buy is not a good idea because they're just going to make one more impulse up, and then come back down. See, those are the possibilities. So probably wait for this to finish what it's doing at the top there, create the sell setup and then sell it. If you sell this here, well, there is a chance it breaks down, but because of this channel we're getting, they could also come here and go back up. So if you can manage the sell to get out for break even, it's worth taking. If you can't manage it to get out for break even, don't take it as yet. It's too early. Pound Swiss. Yep, we will be going down back for one more, so we can pull this here. And I've said the buy is a good move, the sell is a good move, right? So you're coming to break this low, which means you're still getting a sell setup. Can we go break the bigger low? Let's see that. Yeah, you could probably be coming back all the way to this low. See that? We don't know that as yet. We're still going down and it's going down really slow. But take the sell setups because this could still be a flat 1, 2, 3 for a flat and upside, one more up. So we'll go with the hourly sell and you have another sell setup forming right now. So this here should be a sell setup for downside. The flag is a bit too small. I'll probably give it more time. Yep. Although you can make an argument that it's ready to go. Put an entry there because you have a flat here already. And this is probably going to drop through. If they pull back like this, you can still get a trade to the downside. Right, so put an entry, keep a stop above there, simply because you don't want to fall into some triangular, expanding triangular looking pattern like this. You don't want this to go back up there, tag you here, go back up there, take you out to that point and then drop. So because the correction is expanding, you have to be careful when you sell here. There is a chance it can go back up. Pound New Zealand. Okay, we'll take this out. We came back, we broke the low. This is more of a bigger flat forming here, but still downside. Right, just a bigger flat. You've got a bigger flat in here. You've got to move up. You get this, you're getting a move up. So if they make a flag here, we're selling. If they come down here, make a flag here, we're selling. If they come down here, make a flag here, we're selling. So anywhere you get a flag, you're going for that sell setup. Where would that take you? Let's see. Well, at least back to this level. So you can go for this trade back to this level, wait for a flag, and then go for the sell. That's the bigger picture. Yep, we're still in that correction. So yes, this is a good trade back to this level. If you get a 1 hour flag there, you're coming back to this level, and then we'll see if they go back up or if they break through. So this sell is a good idea here because this is a very good setup. And you've got a really nice flag. Well, not a flag, it's a big flat there. So go into 15, find a flag here and sell it. We don't have a flag as yet, but it's a sell setup. So as soon as you get a flag here in the 15 or the 1 hour, this would be a good sell setup. Wait for it. You can put an entry order here if you think it's going to fall really hard, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right, if we think this is going to drop really fast, you can put an entry order there for that sell. I don't think it's going to drop really fast. We might get a flag before then. Aussie, New Zealand. Yep, that was a drop there. And it looks like we're heading back up. We do have divergence, so we might be heading back up. They didn't go low enough. They just broke the low. And this is starting to look upside. All right, this piece starting to look like at least one more up. Come back to the top of this structure. We'll see. What's the big? Yep, that's the biggest structure. We could definitely get one more up. If you get the flag here, you could consider it buy. Not the best trade because this moves really slow. Aussie Swiss. Let's see what the big picture is, the direction. Like all the Swiss pair, there's a big corrective looking structure for upside, but they're all stretching back downwards, which means they're either stretching for a faster move to the upside, or we're probably going to go retest the lows on a very slow down move. Looks like a correction, slow start, then goes. If this correct here a lot more, then we'll probably sell. If you get a bigger correction here, then it's worth selling. Don't sell the flag yet. Wait. Because it looks like this could go back up. But if they make a bigger correction like this, then you can go for a sell. New Zealand Swiss, same here. We have a very big looking corrective structure. See this piece? A 1, 2, 3 down, a big running flat in the middle, and then you start to do this down. But we got a lot of divergence there. So there's a high probability that this first goes back up to this top. We did break all the lows. We broke low here, went the back, break the low, pull back. If this could either come here, make a flat, drop one more, that'd be a sell, or come back to this top, drop one more, or break out. So if you get a buy setup here, you go for it. The sell is not interesting. Don't take a sell at the bottom there. So what you actually want to see is you want to see this goes back up. You want to see this go back up here, make a flag, and then you try to buy the flag. But if they just go back here and start to drop, you're going to get another sell setup. You're going to get this first sell. If you get a flag here, you can sell it. Once it breaks the low, take profit. Because if it breaks the low, it's going to go right back up. So I think we can get a buy setup. There was an entrance. See this? We bought this last week. If we get the same thing here, we're going to buy this week. So let's see if we get that. I'm not selling this at the bottom there. It doesn't matter if it drops. There's better sell setups. And you're getting another sell setup here. Let's go. Where is this going? This has a big move to the upside, but I don't think it's ready to go. Right now, it looks like they're going to go one more down, right? So we're anticipating a big move to the upside. You'll probably get it from here. So with this consolidation here, unless it becomes like this one, see that one? This was a sell setup at that point, but it went up, make a bigger flat, then come here and go back up. So I don't think we'll go back up that much. I think we'll just make a flag here, drop to this level, and then we'll look for the upside. One more downside possible, definitely. So go back to the 1 hour. You're getting a flag, you're getting a sell setup there to go for the trade. Put an entry here for now, but you can change that entry order for higher plays as long as the correction develops. And then you're looking for a move down, one big move drop, break this low, come back to the low. We're likely going to break that low if they drop, and that's a trade. What if they crawl back to the top? It's possible, but I don't see that setup forming right now. Right now, we have a sell setup. Let's go. Copper, still going sideways. This one didn't break out. Wait for that. We're still sideways, so it's still upside, but you're making a bigger flat. So you have to wait for the flat to complete itself. Oil, okay, we might have just completed that running flat now. Coming back to this level, I think we could be looking at this as a running flat here for upside. But an entry order for a buy. An entry order for a buy here is not a bad idea. Because this would have to go break the top and then come down. Because we have a big running flat here, and there's a high probability that thing will go break the top. Right? Can it drop from this level? It's not likely. Could be, but I think it's unlikely. Let them break the top first. We expect them to go break the top, and then you can start to look for the downside. So there's a buy setup there. Go for it. Put an entry order and see where it goes. Right. We can look at this as a big running flat here. It didn't stop here. It didn't go up, so this could be more like that. The only thing will change that buy setup is if this starts to do this. Well, then you go for one more sell. And if you get one more sell, you're likely going to be dropping much, much more than just a short drop. But if they go back up, we're expecting to break this top. And the same should be for the US oil. This is a pretty easier one. This looks like a bigger running flat forming here. And then upside. Where we go, we come to break this top. So the next move would have to be from somewhere here to go break that top. Natural gas. It's going sideways. It will probably continue to go up because you're going sideways. You're going to get a series of consolidation here and then probably upside. US 30, it's a buy setup. You actually have a perfect buy setup there. Now you have a flat, put an entry order, that's an upside. DAX, we're making a flat, that's a buy setup. If we bought this last week, I closed the trade. Right, we bought it in the 15 minutes here. I closed the trade because it didn't go positive, but not profit. I still think we're consolidating because we didn't break this low. Either we're contracting flat or they come back down. We'll just monitor it, but don't put this buy entry anymore because you want to keep it above the top to prove the contracting flat. Or if we get another flag, we take the trade again. Can it come back down? Yep. If they consolidate more, we'll still look for the buy setup. S&P 500, you got a perfect flat pattern for upside. This was a buy setup on Friday. I don't know if anybody's still in the trade. If you're not in the trade, wait for another flag here and buy again. That's a perfect flat. We're going to go up. Take this one out. Wait for a flag buy. Same here. You had a flat, and this one is more of a contracting flat as of now because we didn't break the low. And if you're trading the contracting flat, you know the risk, which means you can't just buy here. I wanted to break this top, make a flag, and then you buy. That will confirm the contracting flat. AU 200. Okay, this didn't drop. Turned out they made a sharp move. Go, can we look at this as a possible running flat? Maybe. Yeah, it looks like a running flat with the A wave having 3 waves inside. We did break the top. So if you make you do have a lot of divergence as well. So if you make a flag here, go for the trade. If you get a flag, go for the trade. And then we'll see what happens, how far it goes. Nifty. Consolidating, I think you can get an upside. Can it drop again? I hope this is not making some kind of a pattern of its own here. Then we'll have to relook for some contracting flat in here. If this is making a bigger structure, we'll have to come back and look at this as a possible contracting flat. Here. I don't know. I don't think so. Let's go with this breaking out. Let's see if you break out. What if they make a flag here? Can it come back to this level? It's possible. We'll go for the sell. So if you see this flag here, you go for the sell. If this becomes a flat, it's a definite buy. Put an entry above this top, the previous top. So you can put an entry here and wait to see whether that is making a correction for upside or a flag for downside. Tesla. Yeah, we are in the big correction. So we can probably put this here, put this there. Looks more like a flat like that. Let's see what happens. It's still correction. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back here and then go. You're in the correction, you can probably don't trade it. Amazon. Oh, that's a big drop. So we broke the top. Is it a reversal? The only question you'd have to ask yourself here is whether Amazon is reversing. Put this here. Because we broke the top. And we're not going anywhere. We do have divergence. We're actually reversing back. I thought they'll at least make an impulse, a big enough impulse higher before they come, but they just stop, break the top, and then start turning. This is coming back really sharp. So this impulse, instead of going that far, only went this far. I think we look for sell setups in here. You probably wanted to pull back and make a flag and then go for a sell setup because this one is pretty sharp. So if this is real, I don't know, sometimes in the charts you have it's not real. If it's real, let it make a flag or let it pull back and then look for a sell. Let it give you a sell setup. This one is still upside. We did have a flag here. We broke the top and it's reversing. If it makes a flag here, then you sell. If they go back up, put the buy above the top. Reliance, it's more downside. It's consolidating. It's consolidating quite a lot. So very soon they'll turn to the upside. But I still think we might come break this low. We might come down to this low at least before we go back up. And PayPal. Yep. I said look for the sell setup from there. It's going really good. PayPal will be a running flat, which means it can be more complex than this, but a simple flat will have to come to this level and then upside. Let's see. And Bitcoin. Bitcoin did go up as we expected. They made another flat. This means you're going to get one more up because you're getting a running flat there. So I'll take this off, put this running flat on. I think this is pretty clear. That means at least one more impulse to the upside, which means this is going to go back at least one more up, and then we can start to look for the downside. Would it come back down? I think so. I don't think we ended the structure here. I don't see that. Let's take this off and see something. Can we call this the end of the down move at that point? I think it's incomplete. I don't really see that as the end. It's possible, but I'm not looking at it that way, which means this 1, 2, 3. There's a buy setup, but I don't think it's total upside, which means this is just making a bigger correction. Go for the buy. Go for this buy setup if you get it, which means if you get a flag here, go for that buy. When it breaks the top, put it in the positive and see whether they reverse or they continue to go up. If they reverse, make a flag, we sell. Right? You'll be out of the buy and you'll be in the sell. Can this actually drop? I don't think so. I think this is a running flat because we've got this. Last week we spoke about this. I told my traders when you see this flat here, you're looking for running flat. XRP, more upside. You've got another running flat, I think, forming here. This would also be more of a running flat. So that's upside too. Put an entry above the top or wait for a flag and buy it. Be careful though. We didn't break the low, so it's still more or less a big corrective structure, even if they go one more up. Even if this goes one more up there, you can still come back here. That's a bigger, I think you have to be very, very careful with this buy. And this one, let's see. Okay, we broke out. This is a small running flat here. Let's see where this is taking us and what pattern we have. I think we're looking at something like this right now. 1, 2, 3. You got a down move, you get 1, you can probably get a 2 here and then go for a 3 and then come down. More like this. A bigger running flat, right? So is this reversing or is there more upside? I think there's more upside. Let's see if we get consolidation. Let's see how this consolidates here and then decide one more up. This is a small running flat. So let's see if they consolidate, here's more up. Can it go down from this point? I don't think so. I think we'll get one more up before they go. And linked, also upside. This one is pretty clear. This one is going to continue to go up more. I think it's going pretty sharp. So yes, you get buy setup, go, buy setup, go, buy setup, go. And then you look for the downside. And this is the same thing. This will go up a little more and then downside. You'll get same thing for Dash. We're in those big patterns, right? So Dash is downside. Even if they go up some more, you can see that this is a sharp move down and we're consolidated. It could be a bigger flat for upside. And I think that wick is real. So that means if that wick is real, this will probably go up. You look for a sell setup here, at least to retest this low. So if you get a sell setup, go for it. And here you're getting a running flat most likely. One more up and then downside. Yep, that is possible. You can go one more up like this, and then you'll get this flat here probably in play. All right, come back here. So let's see. Let's wait and see what it's doing. But you can buy there. This is also going up. We're expecting this to come back to this top. That was the sell setup there. Come back to, so there's a little more upside here. There's a little more upside, and then you can start to come down if this is a flat. See? So is it the flat? I think so. There's a good chance we're making a bigger flat there. This, let that come off. It didn't break. It's going to break. This will definitely break down. See that? But we'll probably get a bigger flat here. So this whole corrective structure is still within the B wave structure. So you've got one down, you've got a correction, you've got this. We didn't break the low. We come back here, we make a bigger correction here, and then go down. So we'll probably be making a big flat in the middle there. Short-term downside. LTC, this is a perfect flat. We tagged the top, so if you get sells tilted up, you want a flag here now, confirm the sell and go for it. Something like this, or something like this. And we go for the sell setup. ADA, same here, probably a little more up. This is a flat. It would probably make a flat like this. See this flat here? It's making a flat like that. One more up and then downside. Well, let's see. Looks like that's the one we're getting. We might get more complex corrective structures in these trades, which means they're going to make really big corrections in here with a lot of flats and flags inside of it. You can buy and sell both directions. If you get flags, take the trade, take out the profit. The next impulse out of it is taking out the profit. So this, for all the YouTube traders who viewed this to the end, please share. My traders, you can watch it to the end and then share. Thank you for being here. I'll stop the recording and the webinar. You guys have a good trading week ahead of you. My traders, I'll see you in the room immediately. Take care. Bye-bye.